Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Hollywood panics as experts predict massive failure for 2024 global box office, worse than 2023. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Breitbart, experts already predict global 2024 box office failure. Also from Breitbart, year-to-date box office down nearly 50% from pre-pandemic levels. And those are the levels we should really be comparing box office to, not just last year, but pre-pandemic when the market was a normal market. They've lost a piece of the box office market that they will never get back at this rate. From Breitbart, experts already predict global 2024 box office failure. After a disastrous 2023 at the global box office, Hollywood's 2024 is already predicted to be even worse. Quote, Gower Street Analytics has revised its 2024 global box office projection to $32.3 billion, according to their press release. This is a little better than the original prediction of $31.5 billion, but still down about 3% from the $39.9 billion grossed in 2023 based on current exchange rates. But the key figure is this, quote, it would also be 18% lower than the average of the global box office totals between 2017 and 2019. Even with the population and ticket price increases over the last 5 to 7 years, the movie business is looking at nearly a 20% drop. That's amazing. And even though the science tells us, and remember, we're always supposed to listen to the science, why the movie business is down nearly 20%. And what's the science? Also from Breitbart, by 2-1, Americans say movies are worse today. The entertainment media will blame anything and everything for Hollywood's ongoing box office collapse. Those liars have all kinds of excuses. Streaming, unruly crowds, too much dew on the windshields. To this day, they still blame the pandemic, but none of them suggest quality. None of them will go so far as to even suggest too much messaging in the movies instead of focusing on entertainment. Bob Iger has said that, but the media won't even say that. And no one who seriously follows all of these media developments thinks that Bob Iger is going to change anything at Disney to get back to focusing on actually making good movies. From Bloomberg, Iger won the battle, but Disney's woke war isn't over. It's far from over because he's not changing. Even if Disney was to change, you can't just make good movies again. It's not that easy when they've gone so far off track. In any other industry, automobile, restaurant, pizza, toothpaste, plastic surgeon, landscaping, when fewer and fewer customers show up, the very first thing that people look at is the quality of the product. But not in Hollywood. Having the moral courage to question the quality of the naked emperor's clothes is to invite a terrible backlash. No longer will the studios advertise on your sycophantic website. No longer will the studios give you the sycophant access to the stars, the free screenings, and all that sweet, sweet swag. So of course there's no way that Indiana Jones 5 tanked because it sucked, because emasculating our hero and having him shunned by a sexless girl boss turned people off. No, it couldn't be that. No, it flopped because the franchise is old and tired and worn out. So please do forget that plenty of old franchises continue to make money, like Top Gun Maverick, which didn't have our hero emasculated by a sexless girl boss. And even though nearly 66 million Americans voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, those red state bigots killed that Lady Ghostbusters movie. And even though Eddie Murphy, Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, and Michael Jackson were the biggest stars in the world 40 years ago, and 60 million people voted for Barack Obama, those red states racists killed all the good movies. You get the point. Now we have the proof, the data, the science that proves what we already know, that most people are fully aware that movies today suck. So maybe, just perhaps, that has something to do with the drop in customers. It's possible if you produce bad movies, they're not going to get buzz about them. They're not going to get people to go and see the movie more than once. If you don't produce a movie that someone wants to go to the movie theater and see again, and then again and again, it's not going to have those blockbuster numbers. When I was doing videos on Joker, I was surprised to see in the comments of some of my videos, yeah, I saw Joker 9 times, I'm going to go and see it a 10th time. I'm not talking about people normally going to movies and seeing them 5 times or 15 times. But if you're not excited to see a movie more than once in the movie theater, it's by definition not going to be a hit movie. Rasmussen Report surveyed 1,200 American adults on March 21st, 24th, and 25th and asked a simple, straightforward question. Are movies today better than they were X number of years ago? The results are devastating for Hollywood, and the media sycophants can no longer invent nonsense excuses for box office failures. To the question, quote, are movies today better than they were 10 years ago? Only 22% said yes, while 58% said no. That number is upside down by negative 36 points. What's more, only 33% of the very demographic Hollywood needs to put butts in seats, people aged 18 to 19, say movies are better, while a majority of 53% of young people said no. That's a 20-point deficit in Hollywood's base. They need those people. And the author John Nolte says here, what I like about the 10-year time frame is that it removes the wispy fog of nostalgia. No one's looking back at 2014 as some sort of a golden era. And that's an excellent point. It's not like 2014 was the year that we made these incredible classic movies in. We'll never forget them. Rasmussen then asked, are movies today better than they were 20 years ago? Only 27% said yes, while a majority of 58% said no. That's a 31-point deficit. Again, there is no nostalgia at work here. No one is pining away for the halcyon days of 2004. We're not talking about the original Star Wars or The Godfather. We're talking about 2004. Here are some top picks from 2004. Mail Order Wife, Alexander, Troy, I enjoyed Troy, Peter Rottentail, Hawking, The Day After Tomorrow. I mean, these are not incredible movies. The Dawn of the Dead remake, The Passion of the Christ, Bourne Supremacy. It's not like 2004 was a year of great cinema, although they did have Team America and White Chicks. And they have another survey question. Then Rasmussen asked, quote, are movies today better than they were 50 years ago? Only 37% said yes, while 43% said no. For the better part of a decade, Hollywood films have bent over backwards to pander to women and minorities. All of this woke crap is supposed to hit the sweet spot of these specific groups. Here's how well that dumb crusade is going. Quote, are movies today better than they were 10 years ago? Women, 23% yes, 56% no. Black adults, 27% yes, 51% no. Are movies today better than they were 20 years ago? Women, 28% yes, 52% no. Black adults, 29% yes, 54% no. And lastly, are movies today better than they were 50 years ago? Women, 35% yes, 43% no. Black adults, 34% yes, 40% no. So it looks like women prefer the good old days when the force was not female. This is not difficult. If people believe a product is getting worse, they buy less of it. Over the last 20 years, and especially the last 10 years, we've been increasingly burned by lousy movies that waste our time and money. Sorry, Hollywood, no amount of media gaslighting can make us forget the feeling of being insulted and ripped off. The science says you suck. Back to the prediction of global 2024 box office failure. Here's how the entertainment industry is trying to spin the report. A downtick in box office grosses was expected this year due to production delays caused by the Hollywood double strike last year and a lack of major blockbusters on the level of recent hits like Avatar: The Way of Water, The Super Mario Bros., and Barbie. Exhibition sources have told The Wrap that 2025 is seen as a potential rebound year, with higher profile tentpoles and a greater quantity of theatrical titles on the slate. But as the first quarter of this year already proved, the problem is not a lack of product. Here's what they were doing in the first quarter. Year-to-date box office down nearly 50% from pre-pandemic levels. Compared to this same date in 2020, the last pre-pandemic January and February, the 2024 box office is down nearly 50%. Quote, through the first 3 days of President's Day weekend, films that have been released widely in theaters have grossed $764 million, down 15% from the same period last year, according to the Wall Street Journal. That $764 million is a tad over the half of the $1.3 billion generated by movie theaters in the US and Canada in the opening weeks of 2020, just before the pandemic froze Hollywood. And the most important part of the story, the lackluster start comes despite audiences having more theater options than they've had in years. This year, through February 18th, there have been 11 wide-release movies, or those showing in at least 2,000 locations nationwide. There were 9 wide-release titles through the same time last year. The eunuchs in the leftist entertainment media will blame this slowdown on the pandemic. They're still blaming the pandemic, a lack of product caused by the strikes, or the fact that this is a slow time of year, a dumping ground for movies that no one has much faith in. But as you can see, it's all BS. The past year saw more wide releases than the prior year, and the box office comparisons of the same dumping ground time frame for 2023 and 2020. So you can't say it's the time of year. We're comparing the same time of year just a couple of years prior. So what could the problem be? Here's an expert explanation that hides the bottom line truth. One media analyst told the Wall Street Journal that theaters in 2024 don't have a holiday blockbuster carrying over from last year's Christmas to drive traffic. Okay, that's a symptom, but why focus on the symptom? The problem, the core problem, is not the lack of a blockbuster carrying over from 2023. The problem can only be discovered by asking an honest question. Why is there no holdover blockbuster from 2023 like 2022's Avatar: The Way of Water, or 2021's Spider-Man: No Way Home, or 2020's Bad Boys for Life? Could it be that no big movies were released over the 2023 Christmas season? Nope, that's not going to be the problem. A handful of what should have been big movies were released during 2023's holidays. Wonka, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Migration, Wish, The Color Purple, Napoleon, and Ferrari. So 2023 closed with plenty of product that was expected to carry over into 2024. Could it possibly be there was no carryover because the product sucks? Yeah, that's it. The movies aren't actually good. December offered a big screen children's feature based on a beloved IP, that's Wonka, a big superhero sequel based on a billion-dollar hit, Aquaman 2, a big musical based on a Broadway hit, The Color Purple, a big Disney animated feature, Wish, and Oscar bait, Napoleon. In other words, the 2023 holiday season looked exactly like every other holiday season, except for one thing. Except for Wonka. No one actually went to see this garbage. And other than Bob Marley, One Love, The Beekeeper, and Anyone But You, no one wants to see 2024's garbage either. As far as what's coming, theaters will have all kinds of product throughout the rest of 2024, including around a dozen franchise titles. Bad Boys 4, The Garfield Movie, Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Fall Guy, A Quiet Place Day 1, Despicable Me 4, Twisters, Deadpool and Wolverine, Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Transformer 1, Joker Folie à Deux, Gladiator 2, Moana 2, Karate Kid, Mufasa the Lion King, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and more. Those are some of the biggest movie brands in film history, and the box office will come in nearly 20% below the pre-pandemic box office. But of course, the quality of the product could never be the problem. It's not even brought up and discussed in entertainment media. This is their business, and they're not discussing it. The problem is also not a lack of brand titles or lack of franchises. The problem is that Hollywood's woke crusade has obliterated its customer base. The problem is that normal people, not just conservatives, actual regular normal people, know that movies aren't very good anymore. The problem is a lack of appealing movie stars. The problem is that what had once been 2 hours of escapism is now 2.5 hours of lectures, insults, hectoring, and gay sex. We all have 100 years of popular culture available to us, so why suffer through any of this new crap? The best part is that those 100 years have already been vetted by history. We know what the best movies and TV shows are, and we don't have to wade through a pile of manure to find a pony. Hollywood hates normal people and wants to queer our kids. There is nothing wrong with hating Hollywood right back. All of these articles are by John Nolte. I hope you'll check out his book called Borrowed Time. I'll have a link to it in the description. Hollywood already knows their 2024 is going to be worse than their 2023. They can't catch up to pre-pandemic levels because they've been disappointing people for years. So when going to the movies as an escape, as a good time, no longer is an option, they're going to permanently lose part of their market. It's similar to what Anheuser-Busch did with Bud Light. They burned a percentage of their market that's never going back. Hollywood has done the same thing to the movie industry. And unless it's like Top Gun Maverick and all of your friends come to you and say, hey, Adam, you've got to see this movie. It's an incredible movie. No one's going to go out of their way to go see it. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.